The 2024 U.S. presidential election is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable in recent history, largely due to the resignation of President Joe Biden. What initially seemed like a straightforward race has now become an intense contest, with experts predicting a very close competition between Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Kamala Harris. In U.S. elections, a clear winner is never guaranteed. There is a real possibility of a 269 to 269 tie, where neither candidate reaches the crucial 270 electoral votes needed to win. This scenario has not occurred since 1824, but what would happen in such a case? In national polls, Kamala Harris currently leads by 1 to 3 percentage points. However, these numbers are subject to change at any time and even fall within the margin of error. It's important to remember that in the U.S. presidential election, winning the popular vote doesn't necessarily guarantee winning the presidency. The U.S. election system is unique, as it doesn't directly rely on the popular vote. Instead, it operates through a system called the Electoral College. Each of the 50 states is allocated a certain number of electoral votes, based on its population size. For example, large states like California have 54 electoral votes, while smaller states like Wyoming have only 3. When voters cast their ballots in a presidential election, they are not voting directly for a candidate, but for a group of electors pledged to that candidate. These electors then formally cast their votes for president. In almost every state, the candidate who wins the majority of the popular vote receives all of that state's electoral votes in a so-called winner-takes-all system, although there may be a close race between Democrats and Republicans. The only exceptions to this rule are Nebraska and Maine, where electoral votes can be split between candidates. To win the presidency, a candidate must secure at least 270 of the 538 available electoral votes. Crossing this threshold is the key to victory in the U.S. election. This year, the outcome of the election rests in the hands of voters in the so-called battleground states. In these pivotal states, neither party has a clear advantage, and they often swing the outcome of the election. The results in these states will likely determine the final victor, making every vote in these critical regions more consequential than ever before. One of the most significant swing states is Florida. Since 1996, Florida's vote has alternated between both parties, supporting Bush in 2000 and 2004, Obama in 2008 and 2012, and Trump in 2016 and 2020. The margins have often been razor-thin. For instance, in the 2000 presidential election, George W. Bush won Florida by just 537 votes out of nearly 6 million cast, a margin so slim that it led to a contentious recount. Florida's diverse demographic makeup, including a growing Hispanic population and a mix of urban and rural areas, contributes to its unpredictable nature. Pennsylvania is another crucial battleground state. Historically a Democratic stronghold from 1992 to 2012, Pennsylvania flipped to Trump in 2016 by a narrow margin, but returned to Biden in 2020. The state's competitiveness can be attributed to its diverse electorate, which includes urban centers like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh that lean Democratic, and more rural areas, which tend to favor Republicans. Economic concerns, particularly in the Rust Belt, such as job losses in manufacturing and shifts in the coal industry, have also made Pennsylvania a key focus for both parties. Arizona and Georgia have emerged as newer battlegrounds in recent elections. Traditionally a Republican stronghold, Arizona narrowly went to Biden in 2020, driven by significant demographic changes, including a growing Latino population and an influx of younger, more diverse voters. Similarly, Georgia flipped to the Democrats in 2020 for the first time since 1992. Currently, in key battleground states like Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin, Kamala Harris is slightly ahead of Donald Trump, but her leads are often within or just barely outside the margin of error, indicating highly competitive races. For example, Harris leads by 3 percentage points in Wisconsin and by 2 points in Michigan. However, in Arizona and Georgia, Trump leads Harris by about 1 percentage point. These razor-thin margins underscore the importance of each state in determining the final outcome of the 2024 election. With such close races, there remains a real possibility of an Electoral College tie. But how would such a scenario unfold? For Harris to reach 269 electoral votes, she would need to win traditionally Democratic states such as Colorado, Virginia, and New Mexico. On top of that, she would need to win key battleground states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, as well as 1 district in Nebraska. For Trump to also reach 269 electoral votes, he would need to secure wins in major traditional Republican states like Texas and Montana, and a lot more. Additionally, he needs battleground states like Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Trump also must secure Maine's 2nd congressional district and 1 district in Nebraska. This combination would lead both candidates to exactly 269 electoral votes, resulting in a tie. But there are many other combinations. If instead Michigan and Wisconsin goes to Trump, while Harris wins North Carolina and South Carolina, there is also no winner. According to the U.S. Constitution, a specific procedure is in place when the Electoral College fails to produce a clear winner with the required 270 electoral votes. This scenario is addressed in the 12th Amendment.
If no person have such majority, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote.
So in such a case, the decision to elect the president is transferred to the House of Representatives in a process known as a contingent election. Unlike the Electoral College system, where each state's electoral votes are distributed based on the popular vote within that state, the contingent election process in the House of Representatives operates differently. In this scenario, each state delegation in the House gets 1 vote, regardless of the state's size or population. This means that all states, whether large or small, have equal weight in the decision-making process. For example, the delegation from California, with its 53 representatives, gets the same single vote as Wyoming, which has only 1 representative. To win the presidency, a candidate must secure the majority of the state delegation's votes, at least 26 out of 50. Currently, the balance of power in the House is uncertain. At the moment, Republicans hold the majority with control of 26 state delegations, while Democrats control 22. 2 delegations, Minnesota and North Carolina, are split, meaning neither party has a clear advantage in those states. North Carolina, in particular, has undergone significant changes recently. The Republican-led state government has redrawn the boundaries of voting districts in a way that favors their party, a strategy known as gerrymandering. Gerrymandering occurs when the ruling party manipulates district boundaries to increase its chances of winning more seats, even when the overall vote is more evenly split between the 2 main parties. Looking ahead to the 2024 elections, polls suggest another tight race for control of the House. Many states remain highly competitive, with some leaning towards the Democrats and others towards the Republicans. What's clear is that the battleground states, especially North Carolina and Minnesota, could be pivotal in determining the outcome, both for the House and, potentially, for the presidency itself. So, if North Carolina's new district boundaries lead to more Republicans getting elected to the House, the state could end up voting for the Republican candidate in this scenario. This could be crucial in a tight race, giving the Republicans an edge if the decision about the next president of the United States comes down to the House of Representatives. As we look ahead to the 2024 U.S. presidential election, the race remains incredibly tight. The battle over battleground states, the intricacies of the Electoral College, And the looming potential for a contingent election in the House of Representatives remind us just how unpredictable and unique the U.S. electoral system truly is. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear. The 2024 election will shape the future of American politics for years to come. Every vote will count, and the eyes of the world will be watching as history unfolds.